Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this special report tonight here at the Siege of Ottawa Freedom Convoy with Janine and Jean-Claude. You can find Janine at Sending Ravens here on YouTube and also at Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Jean-Claude.
How's it going today, Janine?
Good, good. Very exciting and emotional day.
Okay. Do tell.
Well, so yesterday, sort of 11-ish, I think it was, I got the bright idea that I should go to Coots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're about 3.5 hours from Coots here in Alberta, where I am, Calgary. So Coots is the border where there's a big truck convoy, freedom convoy at the border. Of course, it's being downplayed, but you guys, it is massive. If you see drone footage of it, it goes on for miles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then on top of that, there's all these supporters that are camped out. They can't get near the truckers themselves. We found that out, and I'll be explaining that in a minute, but there's miles of those beautiful families all camped out just in support of the truckers. And they're going to be there till the truckers are, coming home.
Right.
Yeah. So, we decided, so yesterday around 11, I'm like, I want to go. And I was thinking I'd just leave right then. So I've my trustee, I phoned a couple of people, but then I think Ashley, she's the most spontaneous. So, cause I can be really spontaneous.
And so she's your perfect sidekick.
She's perfect. Right.
Yeah.
And then we both decided just to get a bit of a brain and go the next morning early. So
Right.
we got up, she made a picnic, and we got in Lilith, my car. Her name's Lilith. I'm taking back the name Lilith.
Yep.
And
I love it.
She's a beautiful car. I love her. And in the car, we went and took off to Coots, where we wanted to go to Coots. All of the way there, you could see, so it's farmland as soon as you get out of Calgary, and ranch, it becomes really ranch land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and on both sides of the highway, I wish we could have got more footage of that, but it would surprise.
Do you want me to start playing the clip now in the background while you're explaining?
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here tonight. This is going to be a short live update. Janine is going to share the footage that she and Ashley shot earlier today. That's a tongue twister on Saturday night. And I'm also going to share with you a couple of news items that I saw go through today that I think are pertinent to all of this. And hopefully in the community today, we can share also in the live chat, and I'll bring your comments up as well. So let me see if I can bring Janine's video up as well. Here we go. Do we need sound for this, Janine? I don't think so, eh?
No, probably better if you don't.
Okay, there you go.
Anyway, it's some of it's chatting, but they can go watch it on Sending Ravens. I'll put it up with sound.
Okay.
Anyway, so all along on both sides of the highway, we noticed that a lot of the farms or ranches were showing support for the truckers. They'd have flags out, and Canadians, I'm going to be honest, don't always have Canadian flags outside of their place. I don't know. In the West here, that's sort of rare. It's not entirely not seen, but you don't see it very often. But all kinds of places were showing flags, and US and Canadian flags, and all kinds of interesting, like Alberta flags, and big signs that said "Stop the Tyranny" and things like that. Mm-hmm. So we knew that they were getting a lot of support on both sides of the highway with the farmers and the ranchers. So I thought that was really brilliant. And of course, these are people that want this silliness to stop as well. So once we got up to about Milk River, I think it's called Milk River. Yeah. All of a sudden there's a blockade here. We're just seeing it in the far distance. And the police blocked across the highway, and you had to go through, bottlenecking through there and talk to the police before you could get through. And that was about 15 miles, maybe 20 miles from the border. So from the town of Coots, which is on the border. Okay, so we had to go through that. And then once we got, so we told a little bit of a fib. We said we were just going to Coots for lunch. And a lot of people were doing that. They were hiding their flags. And once they got through, because they were kind of giving a hard time to the people with tons of flags. Okay, so they knew that those people might be trying to camp out there. So they were turning those guys away. So people were hiding their flags, and once they got through, they stopped and put up their flags. We
Sneaky.
we were incognito. We didn't have flags. We said we were going for lunch in Coots, and the guy said, well, you know, there's a big trucker convoy. And we played dumb. We're like, really?
There is?
It was funny. Anyway, we got
like,
through.
don't you know who I am? I'm Tarot by Janine.
Right. The guy didn't have a clue. Anyway, so then this starts what you're seeing here. Now, these are all the supporters. So there was miles of supporters, miles. And these are just the people before the convoy even starts. You couldn't even get to the convoy because the police had blocked off, 10, 15 miles to Coots. They blocked it off. But this is miles of on either side, people camping.
Wow.
And supporters, and they're so loving, and their whole families were there, and every age group, every culture, like just entire families, and Canadians at their best. Like, I'm so proud to be a Canadian. Like, if this was my first introduction to Canada, it was like heart chakra opening, because everyone was smiling and waving and just loving and having coffees. And you could tell they'd been camping for quite a few days, all of these people. Yeah. And they're just supporting the truckers in the convoy that's even way, way bigger than this. Okay, This is the support. And this is the ones that they had to BS those cops to get through and be able to do this, what they're doing. So they're taking risks, right? Yeah. And then at the end of this long line, there's another line of police that won't let you through to Coots unless you can prove you live there. So we had to show our ID three different times today. What for? Like, why are you asking for our ID again? Yeah. And then we met some fans. These gals.
And so were these regular, what kind of police officers were asking you for ID? Was it RCMP, local, municipal?
No, local, municipal, like Alberta. I don't know exactly. Maybe they were from some of the towns.
Okay.
Then there was, hundreds of horses. So Remember, this is ranch country.
Right.
And there were hundreds and hundreds of horses and people riding horses that had been riding back and forth. And they can get around the police blockade. So they get around in the fields.
Right.
Right. So they probably, take messages or whatever to the truckers. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. So it was like exciting, but it was also like loving, and it didn't feel like you couldn't stop anyway because the police were moving you along. Like, you had to go along. You weren't allowed to stop until the end of that big loop of campers. Then we stopped, and we could have set up camp there like everybody else was, but of course we weren't ready for that. But we did have a lunch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it wasn't like you could go and interview people. It didn't feel like that. Right. More like just waving and showing support, because these people, we know why they were there. They were supporting the truckers, but we didn't actually see any actual truckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's just incredible how large this convoy is. It's just fascinating. And again, in the mainstream news, they seem to be focusing on Ottawa and perhaps the Constitution Bridge, but it's happening everywhere. It's happening in Quebec. It was happening in Toronto today. I'll try to bring some footage of that here as we go today too. But talk about, here's a beautiful Ashley with you there. I saw a few women dressed in Canadian flags also at the beginning of that clip. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but talk about the emotions. Both you and Ashley kind of came back today a little overwhelmed with all of this emotion. And I know the first time I was in Ottawa with Sarah, we were just like taken aback by all of the love. And you remember that clip from that lady who said, "Oh my God, if you can only feel the love here, you wouldn't feel the fear." How did that make you feel here today?
It was exactly the opposite of fear. Yeah. And everyone, when you looked at them, burst into a smile. It was like, and people were chatting through the window and saying things like, "Isn't it wonderful? So many people showed up, and thank you for showing up." And, it was just, heart chakra, like the whole time going through that big loop we did there, which of course, you're only seeing little tiny clips of it. But there was even food trucks set up and everything. And it was just like everyone was just sharing. And loving and offering you things. And, it was beautiful. It was like a love fest. It was certainly not what Trudeau says it is.
Well, Trudeau and all of the mainstream media, of
Oh
course,
my goodness.
focusing on, all the 3 or 4 bad actors that they paid to be in front of camera, and then the 2.2 million people hugging and kissing. No, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Those are just the fringe minority. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, okay, let me bring up a couple of things here today too. Let me see if I can bring this one. I thought this one was funny. These are 2 people in jail right now, and one guy's asking the other guy, "What are you in for?" And the other guy says, "Well, I honked in Ottawa." Do you remember this movie, Janine? Shawshank Redemption. This is where this is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. So I thought I'd start there. This, of course, here today. Well, this was yesterday. Premier Ford did come out yesterday. The majority of the press covered the part of his presser where he talked about severe measures being taken to remove the blockades. But they forgot to repeat what he's saying here in this video. And I want to play it because it is important. So let me see if I can bring that up. And you guys can see also the text here. So hold on a second. I'll bring the audio up for you guys as well. Because this is capitulation, even though the mainstream media have not yet really reported that, other than, below the fold or in the ticker tape below.
Today, we're on track to very soon remove almost all restrictions for businesses as part of our reopening plan. And we heard from Dr. Moore last week and again yesterday that he is now working on a plan that will allow us to remove the vaccine passport system.
Vaccine passport system removed. And here's what's interesting about that. Just before he went live, a bunch of media reporters were producing or reproducing a secret recorded tape of him saying that they would be removing the passport system, even though the day before his Minister of Health was in the news saying that they had no such plan. So he was kind of forced here by the fact that there was this secret recording. So again, mainstream media really not focusing on this part. They were talking about the severe repercussions of all of these angry, mean people, apparently, waving flags and kissing each other and having picnics all around Canada. So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to share that with you guys. Next thing up here, of course, Quebec Health Minister also saying that the COVID vaccination passport may soon be dropped. Now, it was a mitigated approach, mind you. He did say that we could reintroduce them if there was another wave. So, okay. Hold on, folks. It's coming. They're breaking slowly but surely. You can't expect them to do 100% about face in one day, but it's coming. It's encouraging news, to say the least. This was interesting. Viva Frei today also, he says, well, it's been confirmed by the mainstream media that, in fact, Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son. I wanted to play this clip here. And again, he's saying that facetiously because all of the fact checkers this week are saying that this absolutely is not true, is not correct. So we therefore know that it is in fact correct. I thought that was absolutely funny from Viva to put that up today.
Oh,
you and I had talked about this way back when in one of our pay-per-views. I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago. So I thought interesting that it's coming back up now, making the mainstream, of course. So fact check, folks. This is complete conspiracy theory hogwash, just so you know. Okay, this is not conspiracy theory hogwash. This is, what's this guy's name? I forget his name now. He's God damn it. What's his name? Who's gonna tell me on the screen? What's this guy's name? Oh my God! What's his show? He's got a show. His name is his show on TV. Let me play his clip. At any rate, this is mainstream comedy, and they're making extremely Bill Maher. They're making a lot of fun here of Justin Trudeau, and I think it's worth playing here. So let's play that again, just to show how the tide is in fact turning, even in the United States here.
He started to read what he said. This is a couple of weeks ago. He was, or maybe this is September, but he was talking about people who are not vaccinated. He said they don't believe in science. They're often misogynistic, often racist. No, they're not.
That was not smart of him at all.
Right. He said, but they take up space. And with that, we have to make a choice in terms of a leader as a country. Do we tolerate these people? It's like, tolerate them. Now you do sound like him.
That was
and recently he...
Oh, who did he say he sounded like?
The H guy from Second World War.
If you and I say that, we'd be deleted here on YouTube. I was just absolutely, you can barely hear it. I thought he was talking about the woman whose first name starts with the letter H, but no, I think you're absolutely right. So let's continue the rest of the clip here.
Holding unacceptable views.
What?
This,
I'm surprised to hear that Trudeau said those things.
She's surprised.
He responds to that, you haven't seen the blackface. I thought that was absolutely fabulous. Oh my God. So guys, go check out that clip. It's on my Twitter. What do you make of this turning point here in the mainstream media also? These guys are making a fool of Trudeau really quickly.
I shared a couple of really great videos today. One of these two twin guys, black fellows from the US, the Hodges twins. Hodge twins. Anyway, it was a riot. First, they couldn't believe Canadians were the ones showing the Americans how it's done. They kept saying that. Canadians, they showed us up. And and then they started talking about Trudeau. And of course, they brought up the blackface. And you know what's interesting is it's so good that all the digital soldiers share all that stuff around, because it's all over the globe now. You can't ignore it. So all of their little tricks where they smear everybody, we can pull the same tricks on them. That is so funny what they're saying there.
So guys, go check that out on Janine's Twitter. And I believe I also retweeted that. I thought that was absolutely funny. Okay, let's go through the rest of this slide deck here. There's a couple of new items also. You and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, the fact that this guy was a plant, but more and more now, we're understanding all of his deep connections to all of this, including working also for a company that had built the V tracking system for the CDC. So this guy is really one of those big players. But right now, he's under fire in Ottawa. There was a couple of news articles 2-3 days ago. I put them on my Twitter as well. People were asking for his resignation. Let's pull cards on that. When you pulled cards on that a couple of days ago, you said, whoa, he's in hot water right now. He's in trouble. Let's take a gauge as to how much longer this guy has imposed here, because here we are Saturday night. All of the threats by the federal and provincial government were laid out Friday morning. And so far, nothing really big has happened. It seems that even this guy in Ottawa said, well, I like the new measures, but I don't really have the guys to implement that. That's what he came out with earlier this morning. So that's
what we got. When we looked at it, he literally doesn't have the wherewithal to pull any of those things off. They don't have the backup. Even the veterans are all standing there. I put up a picture of it, a couple of different ones, between the police and the people protesting.
At the bridge, yes, I'll bring that up also. And the veterans also here on Parliament Hill today removed the fencing around the war memorial so that they can go and pray and pay homage and honor to those soldiers, even though the mainstream media was making out as terrorism and vandalism. Absolutely, again, a reversal of what the facts are. I'll bring that clip in a second. But what's your read on this guy here? Is he long for this world and this job here in Ottawa?
No, as things come out, he's on a slippery slope here. We've got that Two of Pentacles, so he might even be considering, either they're considering having him resign or he's considering resigning himself. Like it looks like it's like they're tossing up what to do with him. He might even be somebody they throw under the bus, it looks like. Ace and 5. And they might even get something else even more yucky on them around, maybe something to do with his love life, maybe, or like something in his past that could really smear him even further, like more personal. So they're like, as things come out, like there's something that they already know could come out that could really hurt him, and it looks like it's an emotional, like it'll have a real emotional trigger for people. So I'm thinking it's more personal maybe than some of those connections you mentioned. Those are more financial. And where his alliance obviously is, and that's already bad, but they got more smear on that guy. So that's coming too, it looks like.
Wow. And somebody was saying, Lauren, woo-woo dude on the show the other day too, or on my live stream with him and Joe last Saturday from Ottawa, he also said that, yes, he was getting that the police chief was in trouble also, that he might not last very long or ever recover from this either way. So this is some of the footage here from the Ambassador Bridge. Let me see if I can play that. I don't know if there's sound here. Hold on a second here. It's a little bit slow. So that was early this morning. One of the first things. I'm trying to look for the one that you're mentioning here also, where the veterans came in. I believe it could be this one here. Let's see if we can ring that one as well. No, actually, this was the media telling Rebel News that they couldn't park anywhere to cover what was happening on Constitution Bridge. Absolutely amazing, again, how they're being pushed around everywhere. Yep. But at least the citizen journalists are making the difference, whether it's the Janine in Coots, Alberta, or Jean-Claude on Parliament Hill. With our little cell phone cameras, we can do a lot, and we are doing a lot. And again, this is what Clefai was saying a couple of months ago. The mainstream media would be subsumed by all of us, the woo, and that is exactly what's happening. So don't stop reporting, guys. Be vigilant, but don't stop reporting. You and I got a little bit of flack last week, Janine, because we said, hold on a second. Yes, the leader of the opposition is out. There seems to be a new breath of fresh air. But people aren't too happy with Candace. She was asking everybody to leave, even though none of the concerns have actually been addressed yet. So she's taking a lot of fire here today for that. That's just one of the articles here, but you can look at more for that on my Twitter. Now, National Post this morning, they're doing their job. 2 articles today, which are really giving problems here to the Prime Minister. In this one here, they're saying, hey, this could cost him his job. A blockade Canada turning on Trudeau. Polls fine. Oh, the posters are on our side, apparently. Of course, last week we had the Toronto Star admitting that 54% now, an uptick of 15%, were now in favor of the Canadian truckers. So this was no longer a minority. This was the liberal rag that some people call it, was reporting last week. And now here the National Post saying, hey, Trudeau's about to lose his job. On that note, Cliff High, let me see if I can find that little clip. It was probably this one. Yeah. Trudeau only has a few more days to keep government together, quote unquote. Once this weekend is passed, this weekend we're talking about now, so too is his government. Let's take a read on the cards there, if that's accurate. How many more days? Can we ask that from the cards? How many more days can Trudeau last without capitulating? Can we put it that way?
Okay, so funny. The cards are coming up like who you're seeing isn't Trudeau.
Again.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Okay, so he's in really big trouble. He basically saying he already did.
Right.
Okay, so that would go along with the whole alliance rounded him up quite some time ago, and now he's a puppet. But yeah, that's just one theory. Okay, and we've got maybe 3. He's got maybe 3 more days. So it sounds like what, Tuesday?
3. Look at his reaction to that. He's like, oh, 3. That could make sense. And I was telling people, just intuitively speaking, also, Ford came out on Friday with these measures. He's being pressured by the feds, of course. While he was on the snowmobile last weekend, apparently now Trudeau was cross-country skiing last week during this supposed insurrection. So you can tell where their priorities are. But nevertheless, they put Ford out on Friday morning. And I believe if nothing really happens of significance this weekend, even if they do take back the bridge, Ottawa is still a big freedom party right now, big time. They have full reign of the city right now. I believe that by Monday, more provinces are going to start to buckle and just abandon ship here. We already have 2 or 3 of Trudeau's MPs who are now abandoning the party also, and the party line. So this is going to go really, really quick, I believe, after this weekend.
Yeah.
I've got some reports of some police officers that believe that Monday could be an instrumental day also on the Hill. Not sure why they're saying that yet. I'm looking to get more clarification on that. Can you ask the cards, perhaps, what's going on Monday, Valentine's Day, that could be significant? When you look at hotel room reservations right now, typically during the convoy, everybody leaves on Monday morning. But right now, on the Monday, most of the hotel rooms in Ottawa are still fully jam-packed. So it's like nobody's leaving here for the next couple of days. They're expecting something to happen. What can the cards tell us for Monday?
I think a lot of people expect the government to fall. The surrender. They're looking for the surrender. The disappointing surrender. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's interesting. Okay. Yeah, they're thinking if they wait around, they could maybe they think that'll be history it is history. Like if he walks away and or the rest of the party asks him to leave, or I don't know how it would go down technically. Do you know how it would go down? How would it go down for him to be ousted?
He would have to resign technically, or he could lose a non-confidence vote on a money bill. But so far as I know, there's no money bills on the table now, so the no confidence vote wouldn't necessarily work. The whole party can walk out and then force kind of a stalemate. I don't know. We're in uncharted territories, and this is what a lot of constitutional lawyers were talking about Thursday. How does this happen if he actually just leaves? He's left the house now on Thursday and Friday after being heckled during question period. He just stood up and left the house, which is very odd for a prime minister to do, even while he's being heckled. Technically, they would just leave the question to one of the backbenchers, but the boss wouldn't just leave in the middle of the heat, so to speak. And that shows a lot of weakness on his part. So anyways, couple of days. Okay, we'll follow that. Let me bring up this clip again here because I thought that was absolutely beautiful. These are the friendly Canadian protesters mixed in with a lot of our veterans today, removing the fencing around the war memorial. And of course, the mainstream media is portraying this as an act of violence. But as you can see here, they're stacking them very nicely and squarely, very gently. They're shoveling the steps to the war memorial. They're cleaning everything around. So this is not an act of vandalism, as some of the mainstream were reporting earlier today. Let me see if I can bring this up. So here they were originally praying, and then, of course, cheering for freedom. Again, remembering all our soldiers who fought for our freedom. So let's maybe take a moment in the crowd also to recognize that our veterans are here in the front line. I'm looking for that clip at the Constitution Bridge where they were joining also, but they've been present on the hill here. And when I was there on the hill and they took the stage, you should have seen the crowd roar. And these guys were like really, really adored there in Ottawa. Let's what can the cards tell these guys? These guys, a lot of them are suffering from PTSD. They're fighting this government to get the services and the health benefits that they in fact deserve. Trudeau's kind of left them in the lurch. What can the cards tell these guys here who are once again called to fight for Canadian freedoms?
I think it surprised them how popular they were. And it felt like a victory to them. It was a bit of a victory lap, which maybe they've not felt for a while or ever, maybe after, fighting for their country's freedom in the past. So that surprised them. I think they're going to do a lot more standing up. It's almost like they're going to hold the line so people don't get hurt, is kind of the feeling I'm getting around that. So people don't get hurt, or they're worried about, I feel like a worry about something going down around the bridge. Something about they're worried about. Okay, I'm just getting a download that makes more sense. They're worried that there's something planned that could hurt innocent people at the bridge. So they've come together. That place where they stood in front of the people, right in front of that bridge. Where was that exactly again?
Constitution Bridge.
Okay, we should ask about that. Wow, they heard something, or they're fearful for the people, or they did that on purpose to show they're there to protect. So it's almost like their protective masculine, like their divine masculine came up.
Wow. Okay.
So this is good for their self-esteem as humans.
And also to come back in public eye and get support for our government to give them their rightly earned benefits here for supporting freedom around the world. Did you want to do a follow-up question on what they heard on the page?
I want to do one on is there something they need to be, is there a fear? I've heard that before too. Something's going to go down at the bridge, potentially.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know which bridge though.
It's the Windsor Ambassador Bridge. Well, assuming, because today they were in front of the lines here, and for some reason I don't have the link. If you guys moderators have a link to that, please put that in the live chat now. I'm looking for it now to bring up the visuals. Windsor.
Yeah, they heard there could be something like explosive go down. I don't know if that's literal.
Mm.
Right. So something maybe false flappy thing or
Yeah.
right. So and then it brought up the effective warrior again.
Mm-hmm.
Like they thought the people needed their strength. So I think it gave them a purpose. I think they were trying to protect regular folks, and it gave them a purpose. We all need a purpose. It feels really good to be needed, and be applauded for the work you do or did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm looking for imagery here. I did see it earlier today. They're not talking about the veterans here at all in this article either. Again, guys, if you see that somewhere in your social medias now, please put that in the live chat for everyone to see. But that's very interesting. So too was the removal of the fencing around the War Memorial. Of course, we are celebrating freedom and honoring everybody who fought for our freedoms here in Canada and who are now fighting for our freedoms here in Canada. In the face of our truckers here and the majority of Canadians supporting them. Absolutely a beautiful movement. Okay, let me see if I have anything else here very quickly. Janine, you said we were going to do 30 minutes. We're almost there. National Post again here too, starting to buckle in their mainstream narrative. Here they're saying that, hey, this was Rex Murphy saying in Ottawa, the sky isn't falling despite what the political elite would have you believe. So again, we're starting to see the mainstream here actually saying the truth. I saw Evan Solomon today. His Twitter is not so truthful, I have to admit. Seems to be holding on to some of that narrative, so you guys can make your own decisions. Go check that out. In the meantime, guys, I wanted to let you know that I've started streaming on Rumble also as a backup channel. This was 2 or 3 days ago. I did my first Rumble live. Let me just check the Rumble window now. Does that work? Yes, it's working now. So let me bring that link down for you guys as well, so you can go and subscribe to that channel in case you never know something happens to this one. So always good to have a backup, Janine, especially in these crazy days we find ourselves in. Okay, this just in, let me see if I can bring this up. This was Travis was reporting that the PMO's office, or the PMO, confirmed online reports that the PM was in fact cross-country skiing last weekend and they got no parks. I'm like, wow, imagine that, Janine, during a state of emergency. And of course, he was probably trying to chase Doug Ford on his skidoo to have Doug bring the police and his goons get rid of everybody in Ottawa. Absolutely funny. I can't wait to see all the memes on this. This is going to be a field day for all of our beautiful comedians here. Okay, so 2 more news items that don't necessarily have to do with Ottawa. I wanted to bring this up. This was on Zero Hedge today. This is a makeshift morgue in a Baltimore parking garage. Bodies are overflowing there. Now, in this mainstream article, they're talking about the fact that because of COVID and because of staff sickness, the hospitals are overwhelmed and basically the bodies that need autopsies are stacking up. This is what they're explaining. Now, does this have to do, Janine, let me see, bring that picture back up. Does this have to do, again, with the reports we're seeing from the insurance actuaries, where a huge percentage of population not related to COVID are suddenly dying at a most rapid rate we've never seen before? Is that part of that, or is there something specific happening to Baltimore? What can the cards tell us on this one?
I'd say take it down a few notches. I don't think the numbers, I don't think it's true.
Okay.
Take it down. Yeah, like, because this card says no. Take it down a few. I think there's holdups maybe, and the part that might be true is there's holdups because this card holds things up because they can't get around to the autopsies. So maybe they stacked a few bodies over there, but I don't get it's like the numbers. I feel like they're fudging that part.
And is okay. So let's take it down from now. Let's go with that for now. Can we say that this is the beginning, though, of an upward curve, and this happening in other states as some of the hospital system, the mortuary systems do get overwhelmed by what Ruth is saying here on the screen. Insurance companies saying that the deaths are up 40% here in other classifications other than COVID. And I believe the age range is from 15 to 45, which is absolutely odd. And as Jim Willie was saying 2 weeks ago, it's more than a Six Sigma event, a variation from the mean. So is this the beginning of a trend, Janine?
Okay, could be, but I'm going to say again, take it down a bit.
Okay.
So they're going to exaggerate it. They being maybe even the good guys, to shock people into realizing what they've allowed to happen. See that card? Things are better than it looks. They're going to, so take it down again. So they're going to, both sides are exaggerating the amount of passing over. I never get the numbers everybody else gets. So I don't.
Okay. Color Fab is telling me, JC, the article is telling you it's because of lack of personnel as the reason. Okay, I know, that's what I read. But I'm saying, since when does the media really tell us the real reason behind anything? We're just questioning here. So if you're new to the channel, we're just kind of seeing between the lines what possibly could be other reasons as well. Go ahead, Jean.
And with that high priestess, most of what they're saying there is not true. Some mistruths there. So like, the good to question it, because it's not how they're presenting it. That's for sure.
Right. Well, just like removing the gate around the war memorial today was supposedly an act of vandalism. When you look at the video, it's absolutely not vandalism. So again, mainstream media today, they've been caught fabricating stories here for the last 2 weeks in Ottawa. It's been absolutely atrocious. Okay, last piece of news I guess we have to look at today. This 50 million doses of the vaccine recalled as they triggered false positives in HIV tests. We're getting this now in Europe. That's interesting. And they're saying that is perhaps the envelope of the well, I don't want to even say the word, but one of the proteins in this product here that is covered with some of the triggers or the CRISPR kind of markers for HIV. And so people don't actually have HIV. It's actually the trigger that is inside the CRISPR technology. How do I even say this on the show? I'll just leave it at that. What's going on with this? Are we going to see a curve here as well where more of this news is coming out that perhaps indeed these products were extremely dangerous? And this is one of those types of news stories and narratives that, just like the other one, will scare us into realizing how bad this product actually is. Yeah,
this is about scaring. Yeah. So again, I don't think I'm believing the story again. Like, as much as like, maybe it is triggering some of that, but this feels like it's more about scaring people into understanding what the whole thing, like how dangerous it is, how like this doesn't, because the outcome is really good. So we find out it doesn't cause HIV, and we find out a lot of it's been exaggerated. Yeah, I think it's part of the scare tactic.
Okay. Well, it's working in some areas, and unfortunately, that's also part of the strategy here to bring everybody in fear again. So it's very frustrating. And this news article also here from Australia, Australian police using mind-altering signal emitters here to block people from filming and transmitting at some of these events. But we're saying that if you are under this frequency for a long time, it could also permanently damage perhaps your brain, or at the very least give you what has been dubbed the Havana syndrome. So nausea and distortion in your energy field, in your body field. So what's going up with this again? Is this a tactic that we're going to see maybe spread across the world, or is the momentum now of freedom going to quash this very rapidly?
That's funny. I think be patient. Like the cards didn't want to talk about that. They wanted to give advice. So it feels like just be patient. Things are going to get way, way better in Australia really soon with that sun. They're coming into a really good time. All of the cards are so like it's heralding a brilliant time in Australia. I think they had a huge win this weekend. There were 5 million or something? At least 2 million.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Upwards from there, maybe. Yeah, did you see the drone footage? It was insanity how many people went.
Yeah, I'm trying to play it now. Go ahead. Keep going.
Crazy. Yeah. So all of the cards look like this is gonna push. They're gonna win there. This thing was their winning step. I mean, they still got more steps to take, but they're absolutely got the upper hand here. Yeah, their people are, yeah, on the way out. I already believe they capitulated, by the way, and I think it's. By the way, Ricardo Boise in his speech, and I shared it, he mentions the white hats. He says they're getting help from a group that may wear light-colored headgear. That's what he said.
Okay.
And you have a lot to thank to those guys. Yeah, and I was like, okay. I think he's been pulled over and he's part, kind of works with those guys.
Let's Cliff is in the chat. Hello, Cliff. I hope you're doing well. Let's look at the 19th. In one of his last videos, Escalation View, he was talking about February 19th being a critical date. Julie also from Maison Jupiter had talked about 19th also and the 20th, but let me bring up the 19th slide here for the audience. She was talking about consequences finally hitting maybe reality here with respect to the trucker convoy. She's talking about negotiations and compromise, the opposition, a beginning of the reversal of power. That's very interesting. That falls in line, I believe, with what Cliff was saying in his video. Fighting to give the abundance back to the people also, perhaps here in a new economic hard money, sound money based system, and businesses choose their camps and side to rule with the people, or to, which is interesting because we're seeing now more and more of our police, our veteran, and our military also starting to side with the convoys here in Ottawa. I'll have more on that tomorrow. I'm going to be interviewing an RCMP officer maybe tomorrow or Monday night here. I'm trying to set that up. So that's very interesting. What do the cards have to say, Janine, for the 19th?
Interesting. Okay, mainstream media really shifts that date from what I'm getting. So you actually get some mainstream media actually talking truth, which they've been doing that, just little tiny tidbits off and on. And I know that's been, foreseen for a long time. They got a new boss. They just start saying something new. And it's absolutely in the favor of humanity. Okay, because that's a really big win for us when mainstream media actually starts, even if just here and there they start saying the truth, it can really help, right? And then, well, the beginning of the end. I mean, in so many ways it's already there, but this card, like forever ending. I think the whole agenda of the globalist agenda this weekend, we can bury it. If nothing happens tonight, and I don't think they got the wherewithal to shut down what's going on. And some people are saying, well, the trucker thing is not that important because it's just about mandates, yada, yada. But no, it is important because it actually shifted the whole situation around the world. It emboldened people around the world and brought the vibration up in Canada. Like, I'm feeling like I love Canada again. I have a new respect for Canadians and Albertans after my trip today. I am honored to be, and if I was feeling so like destitute sitting in Canada thinking what a bunch of losers we are, what's going on, nobody notices. You know how many people know? Entire families were there camping out, like and all along the highway people were putting things out in front of their farmlands and ranches to support the truckers. There's way more support than they're letting on. I think there's way more people in this than we've been told. So they're just downplaying it. Look at how they're doing it, even in what's happening in Ottawa, telling you how many 50 trucks. Okay, try 5,000.
There's just a few hundred trucks and a few thousand supporters, yet the RCMP is admitting there's 2.2 million people on the Hill. So there's a big discrepancy. You're right about the trucker movement and the convoy. It did a lot more than just talk about the mandates here. It did raise the frequency, and it showed the people that we, in fact, have the power, and we forgot that somewhere, somehow. And it gave everybody backbone to remember that they're part of a bigger community. It did that. It also showed how absolutely corrupt the media are. Even the normies are waking up to that fact. They've also also shown how the banking system is absolutely corrupt with all of these GoFundMe campaigns being seized, and now they're getting into crypto. So yes, it's a revolution on many, many fronts. So again, here, guys, go check out Escalation Woo here on BitChute. And also, if you want to read this interesting missive from Cliff here, you can find it on his Substack. Let me bring that link down. He's talking about the last card and how they're going to play perhaps this last card. And we're seeing it now so far. It looks like a whimper. It looks like they're playing it face down and kind of hiding in the corner. We'll see. There's a couple of days.
That's what I get. That's the last card according to my cards. So they're going to have to. They don't have a choice. Look at all those swords in there. They got to surrender. They have no choice. There's nowhere to go here.
Yeah. I have to bring this up here also. When I was having the conversation with Dick Algayer, he seems to think that this convoy is organized, of course, by the bad guys, and the bad guys absolutely want to destroy all the systems, and they're asking basically the populace to do it for them, and that's ushering us into a total control dominant system. I don't believe that that's where we're going. I understand that that's where they want to go. We've talked about the Klaus Schwab model of owning nothing and being happy. But I believe that the cat's out of the bag now, and humanity has a shot to take our freedom back, literally, and to recreate our world. And so for that, I agree with Cliff in the chat there as well. We're on the same page with that. And most of my audience is on that page too. But that doesn't mean we can sit on our laurels. We all need to do our part. And Janine and I are doing our part every day. And we're putting out all of these videos to you guys. So thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Janine, any last words of wisdom before we go? Anything else you wanted to share before we go today?
Well, though I will share that the police at the border and all these blockades, they were really nice and polite, and they didn't, I could feel energetically, they didn't really want to be there doing that. I'm going to say that. They were cordial, polite, and you could tell they were told what to do, but they weren't exactly on board. So I can see people like that flipping. Yeah. And with all the love energy that was going on, like that's got to affect them, because I feel like my heart chakra was opened up in that group, and I'm still feeling it right now. So I figured they're not immune to that. No, for sure. For sure, they're not immune to that. And again, if I can get my RCMP officer on the line tomorrow or Monday, they're going to tell you here that they're also hearing reports from their comrades that the Ottawa police force has lost maybe up to 30, maybe now even up to 40% of their staff due to resignations. The cops don't want to be there. Now, we've seen some bad cops in Ottawa, some mean cops, but for the most part, you could tell they don't want to be there too. They're doing their jobs, and this has been very difficult. And I think when Premier Ford said anything it takes, I think a lot of cops said Friday, yeah, I don't think so, Mr. Ford. We'll hold the peace, but that's about it. So it'll be interesting to see here in the next 24 to 48 hours. But so far, those threats by the federal government and the provincial government have fallen short here on Friday and Saturday. Still remains to be seen, but I am, of course, as always, cautiously optimistic. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here tonight. Please do remember to like, share, and subscribe here on Tarot by Janine and also on Ascending Ravens. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic 3, and also come and check out our new streaming service here on Rumble. You can find me there at Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic. I'm Jean-Claude, of course, at BeyondMystic. I love you guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir. Au revoir.